Hey guys, Cohh here with a super quick video. I want to make sure people understand this is a work in progress build, but I've been getting a lot of questions throughout the Dragon Age Inquisition playthrough, which still has a pretty good way to go what my build is. So I figured I'd give you a quick video and show you what we're working with. So to start with, let me just show you the build and what we're doing here. That's basically what we're working with right now. So what this build is this is a rogue.
Get the damn fish.
I will, thank you. This is a rogue build with an archery focus that is an artificer. So this is a build that you're going to be kind of realizing later in the game. Well, actually more like the first third, I'd say, maybe even fourth, depending on how far you go. But it's a very strong build, very mobile build.
Applause,
it has decent, why, thank you. It has decent survivability. And like I said, we're not done with it yet. There's a couple different directions we can go with it, but what I'll do real quick is kind of show you what we're working with. So the bread and butter of this build comes in 3 flavors. The first one is our buddy down here. This is Leaping Shot. Leaping Shot is our shotgun ability. It basically not only jumps us back, but also gives us a quick spread of arrows right at the beginning. We use this currently with Rolling Draw, which is a 200% extra damage bonus. But if you want more survivability, you can actually switch it over to Shot from the Shadows, which makes you stealth and also increases the damage of your follow-up attacks. So I'm just currently using Rolling Draw, but depending on how much survivability you want, you can switch that over. The next part of the build we go to is in Sabotage. Now, this is one of the second kind of cornerstones of the build, and that is this skill right down here, Hook and Tackle. This ability is awesome because not only does it pull you right in range so you can do your big close damage attacks, you can also get a follow-up ability that makes it so it has no cooldown and costs no stamina. So you literally can just spam this at every enemy you see, getting right next to them and doing big damage attacks right in their face, which is a lot of fun. The second major damage component we have after the Leaping Shot is down here with Throwing Blades. Throwing Blades is not only pretty strong in itself, but it also has precision targeting, which means if you only have one target, your damage bonus is going to go up as your blades hit them. Very cool attack that doesn't have to be used in melee range, so you can use it generally after jumping back with Leaping Shot, which is great. But then that takes us to the parts that really makes this build fun, and that's an Artificer. The first major thing that you want to get in here is Opportunity Knocks. This is fantastic because, as you can see, especially if you have a high crit build, you're going to be seeing that cooldown reduction hit all the time. So what this allows you to do is pretty much keep Leaping Shot, Throwing Daggers, and in some cases Elemental Mines even, really like spammy, which is fantastic because you're going to be doing a lot of damage. You're going to be having a high crit rate. You're going to be zipping around the battlefield, and most of the time, your damage is your cooldowns are going to be down like the entire time. So it's a great skill to get, and really is one of the bread and butter parts of this build. Now, another high damage and kind of the third high damage ability that you'll see in there comes right down here into Elemental Mines. Elemental Mines is a high damage Artificer mine attack. It's a little tricky to aim, which is why Hook Shot is so important with this build. It basically, the way we have it spec'd, throws a mine directly in front. If the enemy is highly mobile, then this mine can miss. There is something you can do to get around that by making the enemy immobile using a different Hook Shot passive, but I found that I much prefer being able to zip around the battlefield. But if you're only going up against one enemy, you may want to consider using the Root in Place Hook Shot passive, so that way this ability always hits. Now, there's 2 variants to this skill that you can use. One of them throws a huge amount of mines everywhere, but I found that frequently this would make it so it doesn't do a lot of damage because the enemies don't walk over all of them. So I use the other passive, which is One Shot, which is one big mine in front of you. So what you can do is you can Hook Shot over to the enemy, throw a big mine. Now, the way Elemental Mines work is it cycles through different damage types. So you may even get lucky and like shock the enemy and keep them still or freeze them or something like that, which is great because that then sets you up for an easy Leaping Shot right into Throwing Dagger. But as long as you use it right when you land, there's a very good chance that you're going to be hitting the enemy with the mine, even if they're mobile in some cases. But again, it's the kind of thing where if they're too fast, it does have a little bit of a spool up time and then a little bit of travel time. It also kind of throws in a little bit of an arc. So every so often you will miss with that. In the case that it does miss, you can just Leaping Shot out to reset, or you can go ahead and just use your Throwing Daggers if you want to get some extra damage in there before Leaping Shot, and you can go from there. So the way that this build can grow is in lots of different ways. You can, of course, get your focus here, which I've heard is very good, Hail of Arrows. You can also go down here and use Fallback Plan if you want to get a little bit more survivability. You can go take that down and get the damage bonus here as well. You can also go more into the Subterfuge tree, This is the route that I will most likely be taking. Not only is stealth great to have because you can stealth up your main character and go in and pop the rift disruptions if you want to, but it also just helps with survivability as a whole. There's some fun passives here. You can also go down and get evasion and evade, which is a great way to get around the battlefield, especially if you could take shadow step. So lots of different directions you can go with this build. You can also just go way more into DPS. You can even get another damage ability if you want it, which can synergize really well with the cooldown reduction. But overall, a very fun build. I've really, really been enjoying it. Like I said, I'm still very much feeling it out. And yeah, it's just been great. So before we cut the video here, we'll do one more fight so you can kind of see it work in a different situation. There's the hook shot. There's the mine. He's on fire. Pop that out. Throw some daggers. And as you can see,
brothers, can't you see this?
I can use a little bit more survivability.
It's no use.
So anyway, on that note, we are playing on nightmare difficulty, so it can hurt a little bit. On that note, the build is awesome. I don't generally get one shot like that, but you know, it happens. That probably would have been prevented, for the record, if I had the second leap shotting passive, where it stealths me directly after leap shot, because what that does is it generally makes the enemies you're fighting immediately target someone else. And if your tank is nearby, then at that point you're just not taking any damage and you're good to go. So lots of little fun things with this build, and I'm really, really enjoying it. So on that note, I hope that this helps you see what I'm doing. I hope that you have fun playing this build if you do. You can also play this build in a melee format, switches up the skills a little bit, obviously, but it's absolutely doable. And yeah, as always, thanks for watching. Stop by the channel, twitch.tv/CohhCarnage. We would love to meet you if you're not here already. And as always, big thanks to my YouTube community. Love it when you guys stop by. See y'all later.